It being 5:15, I'd like to call it Economic Development Committee meeting to order. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Motion to adopt the agenda. It's been made by April, seconded by Hans to adopt the agenda. All those in favor? Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried. Did you approve the July 26th, 2022 minutes?
I have one amendment to the minutes. I was not present at that meeting and it's listed me as present.
Well, we'll make that change.
You were here in spirit, so we felt you.
I did let Mayor Mark know that at the last council meeting and I think he made a note of it, so.
Yeah. I don't think I was there either. Good catch, John. I wasn't there either.
Yeah, you showed up.
Yeah,
late.
you were.
You showed up, yep.
You were here.
No,
We're
he
here.
wasn't.
No, I wasn't.
Not in July.
I was in Clover in
Someone
July.
else ran the meeting.
Oh, I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you here?
Well, then there's a few corrections.
the wrong one?
made.
July 26th, 22.
It's wrong minutes. It's the wrong minutes.
Yep.
Well,
It's totally the wrong minutes because I was here when Wyatt's first meeting.
Yeah.
those are the June minutes.
Yeah. Those are the June minutes.
It wasn't a June meeting.
There wasn't, right, there wasn't the June, there was a July.
Were you
This-
here?
All right.
Wait a minute.
Last
you were
meeting was your
here.
first meeting, right?
Yeah.
You were here.
Well, then you were here.
Yeah, you were here because you introduced
Yeah,
him.
we're here. That's the meeting
Yeah.
that you at the last second texted me and said, I'll make it.
And I had my
What was-
PowerPoint.
What was the meeting that you ran?
Or the one before, maybe.
Yeah, because Bill Zeinert and Jeff Murkowski were here. Yeah, that's the right one.
Yep.
We talked about Killaloo.
Yep.
Okay.
Maybe I was here. Which one?
You
I
were
could have
here
swore
the
you
last-
ran that.
He was going to, but then you showed
Yeah.
up.
It was a council meeting. I missed that one.
Yeah, you were
Yeah,
here because.
Council meeting I missed. You read the
Sure
minutes
that
because
you
I was
wouldn't be
gone.
able to join any other meetings.
Yep.
Or committees.
I go back and I watch a video. I tried to catch as much as
Oh, we're good. I'm
But-
confused.
John Fisher.
Yes,
I'll
I
double
was
check that.
really absent that time.
Got it.
I'll make that motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Motion been made by John, seconded by April. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Confused.
Steve and Mark.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. All right, report on sister city twilling with Killaloo County, Clare, Ireland.
All right, I am happy to report that as you guys are aware, at the last meeting, we had several individuals, Larry and Carrie Katarzinski here, talking about or asking that the city would revisit the twilling / sister city relationship with Killaloo, Ireland. The Common Council on the 16th of August did create a resolution that authorized the mayor to sign a charter with Killaloo, sealing that relationship. So the mayor did sign the charter on the 16th, and I was privileged enough to take that charter to a dinner in Milwaukee. It just happened to be that Tony O'Brien, Mayor Tony O'Brien, who is originally from Killaloo, which the city or Larry and Carrie and the city have been working with in the past, of Killaloo, recently has been elected as the mayor of County Clare, which Killaloo is in County Clare. And County Clare was in Milwaukee for Irish Fest, and they were promoting their airport, and I think they were like a highlighted county for Ireland for Irish Fest. But Tony and several a delegation from County Clare was at Milwaukee. So on the 18th, 2 days after the county approved the signing of the charter, Tony O'Brien was there, and this is Tony and then Sue Tenney, as you guys should all know. And that's Tony signing the Twilling Charter. I believe Nicole has it up on the wall right there. No, she was going to put it in the room. So there's the Twilling Charter right there with Tony O'Brien's signature on the wall. And just some other pictures. And there were several other people from New London there. Larry and Carrie Kaczynski, Sue and Dave Tenney, Mucci and Judy Barrington, and then Lori and Mike O'Connell. And then these other individuals here are, I think they're called council members. I think that's their title for county council members. So a really cool night. It was really neat to be a part of that process. I wish we would have had a film crew there recording the conversations, because many of these people have been to Ireland. They've got a relationship already started with Tony. I think one or two of them have actually gone to a wedding, one of Tony's daughter's wedding, I overheard. So it was really cool to hear all the stories and the relationship that has been building up for this already. But the charter has signed, so New London has its first sister city, which is kind of cool to talk about. Moving forward with that, next steps, like the Kaczynski's talked about, it's whatever we want to make of it. I mean, we could just let it sit as putting it up on the wall, or we could move forward with it however we want. So there was some loose conversation that night about, maybe making some type of a subcommittee, and just this, and it's more made up of just interested people instead of just the city itself, to kind of feed that relationship. I mean, is it promoting, pen pals with the school districts? Is it promoting tourism back and forth? Hopefully we can kind of promote people to come here. But I guess what I was going to do next is talk to some of these individuals and see if there's a grassroots committee, a grassroots group that wants to be a subcommittee potentially of the Economic Development Committee. Per our ordinance, the chairman has the ability to create a subcommittee of the Economic Development Committee. And maybe that subcommittee just feeds information to the Economic Development Committee of things that we want to do to strengthen this relationship. We are looking at getting signs made up, so that's in process. And I think at the last meeting, we talked about maybe bringing somebody in from a different community who has a sister city relationship just to see what they do. So I haven't had an opportunity to look into that yet, but that might be an opportunity as well. So really cool event, just really cool meeting these individuals. Yeah, it's a nice part of the process. I said that night, I said selfishly, I'm glad it took this long, because if it would have happened in 2007, I wouldn't have been involved with it in the position I was at then compared to now. So I said, I'm selfishly glad it took this long because I could be a part of that night and part of the event now. So it was fun.
Well, thank you, Chad.
Yeah, and we'll also contact the paper. So we want to get something in the paper as well with that. So. Any questions?
Thank you. Follow up on a ECWRPC free technical assistant grant application.
So at the last meeting, I reported that East Central Wisconsin Regional Planning Commission had offered a free technical assistance grant application for communities, which I applied for. We talked about trying to do something with the back alley, and I'm happy to report that we were one of, it's either 3 or 4 communities that were awarded the grant. So we are in the process of planning that event. They are bringing in several consultants / engineers from Ayers and Associates. It sounds like they're flying people in for that week. And we are scheduled for Tuesday, August 11th. Sounds like there's like 3 or 4 different communities. They're going to be in one community each day. We're set up for the 11th. I've got a conference call set up in the next week to kind of go through more details. But from my understanding is they're bringing in these consultants, and it starts off with public information gathering and facilitation. So they're going to bring people in based on what our goal is. And our goal is to talk about the back alley and how we could maybe capture more of the assets of what the river has. I mean, Jeff has brought that up in the past about what we can do to really work on the back alley. We've heard it, how many people have said the back alley, what can we do to make it more inviting? I'm not expecting this to be just a revolutionary type event, but I'm hoping it gives us some small ideas, some attainable goals, some small things that we can kind of capture out of this. But they're going to come in, and in the morning, it sounds like it's more of a public information gathering, whoever wants to be involved. I would invite all of you, if you're available that day, at least in the morning, to participate. I don't have I don't have a time set or a location set up yet. I'm still working on that. And then what they're going to do is after they get public information and information of what the project entails, they're going to go in the afternoon and sit as a team and come up with ideas and things like that. And then in the evening, they come back and give a presentation of some of the ideas that they've thought about based on the public input. So again, that's going to be October 11th. I'll have more details after the conference call that I have with East Central in the next week. And I still got to get a location. I don't know. Jeff over at the insurance place across from the library did offer to have it there if needed, but I'm still working on that. So we did get the grant, and we're going to work on that on the 11th. So hopefully we get some participation. And I have a letter that I've got drafted up. I want to have that letter out in the next week to the downtown business owners and downtown property owners, at least on North Water Street, giving them an update on the 2023-2024 project, and then also let people know about this. So at least the downtown business owners have some notification that have an opportunity for this. Again, I don't think this is going to be an earth-shattering event, but hopefully we get some little things that we can some attainable things that we can do for the back alley, and maybe capture more of the assets what the river provides us. Any questions?
Thanks, Chad.
Cool.
We reviewed your downtown business or downtown ambassadors program idea.
April, you want to take this? Or you want me to take this? I can
You're
start.
doing great.
I feel like I'm the only one talking tonight.
No, I'll chime in.
Okay, so downtown ambassadors program, and it's just kind of dubbed that right now. We're talking about maybe some different, titles for this, but this idea came out of the Connect Communities downtown. What was the program called that day, that event that John Bartz was here? Kickoff.
WEDC kickoff.
Yep.
For Connect Communities.
So John Bartz from the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation held a kickoff meeting for the Connect Communities program. And during that walk through the downtown, an idea came about of maybe having what's called an ambassadors program, that what we envision is something about, we have, after a weekend, the downtown's pretty busy. There might be trash, there might be other things that just needs a little fine detail to clean up. We have challenges with our street sweepers, especially with the downtown the way it is right now. If there's different elevations in the curb and gutter and in the road right now, there's that the street sweeper is hard to get in those cracks and some other in those areas. So this downtown ambassadors program idea is that maybe a volunteer group, whether it's a Lions, whether it's a club, on maybe if it's on a monthly basis, maybe if it's on twice a month basis to start off with, come in through the downtown and just take some brooms and sweep up. Maybe there's glass that was broken around in an area that the street sweeper can't get, or fence on a sidewalk or something like that. So maybe on a regular basis, we can kind of get a rotating group to come through and then just sweep up, clean up, grab cigarette butts, grab a broken bottle that maybe is in the downtown, and try to keep our downtown looking a little cleaner. I said, if we go ahead with this idea, we can definitely sponsor getting some brooms, getting some vests that say something about cleanup crew or something like that, put some pride into it, get some, publicity out of it, and kind of go from there. I don't know if there's anything, we talked about that at the downtown revitalization meeting today. So I don't know if there's anything, April, you want to.
I would just add that at the chamber, we're constantly getting phone calls from whether it's a business or a group just looking for different volunteer opportunities or how to get involved. So, we're tossing back ideas, but this will kind of be a central place where they can go and find a link, register, and show some pride for the community.
So it's just an idea that we've been kicking around, especially from that Connect Communities kickoff event that we had. So,
What's the area that you think it would cover? Basically Pearl down to North Water?
Pearl and North Water for sure. I guess we haven't talked about the exact area yet, so that's
I already know what
to
the
be
details will
determined.
look like, but Pearl and North Water are always on my radar for just cleaning after the weekend after the bars.
So any thoughts, any comments, any?
It's a great idea. When we did the Wolf River Preservation River cleanup this year,
Mhm.
we had a couple people walk that back alley and stuff, and things work their way in the catch basins and different areas, and yeah, like you said, there's a lot of uneven ground that things end up in. It'd be great if we could get something like that going. And we also had a lot of people reach out to us asking for opportunities, especially young people that were under 18. And we didn't know where our insurance, we just redid our insurance policy. And we really aren't able to take them on boats unless their parents are with. So I know that you could really muster up a pretty good group and really do a lot in a short amount of time,
We're really
once a month,
partner with students, for sure.
weekly or whatever. I think that be a good opportunity and just to get people involved in that. We talked about it, I think, at last month's finance meeting. Topic of weeds came up and different things. Show some community pride and pitch in, and it's another opportunity for people to put some stake in it.
Maybe start once a month and see how that goes. And if we get more groups, and maybe we can do it twice a month and, you know, see where it grows to.
No, I got a couple kids all sign up.
Mm-hmm.
They're at my house right now.
Cool.
Moving on to review the 2023 economic development budget.
All right, it is budget time for the city. So department heads are putting together the budget requests for the overall budget. I'll tell you what, doing the Parks and Rec and Public Works budget for years, the economic development budget is pretty easy compared to those other ones. So currently, the economic development budget's a little over almost $40,000, $39,980. The 2022. Currently, I have no changes or requests at this point in time. So as of now, but with your input next, right now I'm looking at leaving that budget exactly the same. What comes out of this 39,000? Some of the committee member wages for attending meetings are in here. Advertising for social media. If you recall, I just want to point out for some of the new ones, we had about $10,000 more in the budget for advertising because we were contracting out advertising, and it was about $10,000 a year. And then when I came on board, is that we can do that in house. I mean, we've got talent with our media, our video producers, so we did decrease that quite a bit. So right now we're on track. We decreased the budget from about $10,000 for that to about $1,000, and we've only spent about a couple hundred so far this year. And we're targeted marketing with the social media. So I mean, we did bring that down quite a bit, and I think it's a better product just because it's new content, whereas the consultant was trying to push content that was 2 or 3 years old. So we did bring that down from 2021 substantially. Also in this budget, there's some land acquisition and sales. If we sell property, city property, and do things, we need a little bit of money in for that, for deed sales and stuff like that. So some of the money is used for that. We've got memberships in the Wapaka County Economic Development Corporation. We've got memberships with the Fox Cities Regional Partnership. And then we're also in with the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation's Connect Communities program. So those come out of the economic development budget. And then there's things that come up through the year. I remember the year or two before I was in the city administrator role, we hired a consultant, and I can't remember his name. He was working on that the downtown riverfront property, doing a bunch of studies with that. We've also had throughout the year, we've had a housing study pulled out of this because we needed a housing study for that project. So there is some money in the economic development budget throughout the year. If things come up, special projects, for that comes out of there.
Yep, Todd
What's that?
Hutchinson.
That's it. Todd Hutchinson. Yep.
Chad, I have a question. Has a decision been made to continue the relationship, the Fox Cities Regional Partnership membership?
As of now, I would recommend at least trying it for another year. They're going through a major change. They got some new leadership over there. I think in the past, it was kind of like, where's that thing going? And they just did a strategic plan. So I want to kind of see I would recommend us wait one more year with that and see where the strategic plan goes and then evaluate it from there. If not, if we don't feel like that's where to go, then we can pull it out from there. Just so like the social media advertising, we felt like that wasn't a benefit for us, so. But I'd like to see where the strategic planning goes with the new leadership over there and see where that kind of ends up. What the budget does not include is the facade improvement program. The way we fund that is at the end of each year, Judy, finalizes and closes up the budget. And if there is leftover funding, so say a department or say the city didn't expend, all the money that had in the budget, then that Judy takes that to council and suggests to put things in the different areas. Whether we put it into capital projects or whether we put it into something else. We've been funding about $20,000 in the facade improvement program based on leftover funding from the previous year, as long as we have that funding. If we don't have that funding, leftover money from previous year, then things like this do not get funded. But we've been able to do that as of this point. Capital projects, the only one I have on right now is the billboard replacement. I'm still researching that. And then, are there any other particular economic development focuses or goals we want to hit for 2023? A lot of goals sometimes have financial impact, so now's the kind of time to talk about them to see if we have any focuses.
I've never been involved in anything like this, so I'm not real sure what would be done, but is there support or advertising or some other outreach that needs to be done for the downtown businesses, given that the downtown reconstruction project is going to start in 23? I don't know what that would look like, but I mean, it's certainly going to affect our downtown businesses, and whatever support we can provide, we should.
Initially, and that's going to be primarily in 24. So we got another cycle, but we can start talking about some funding opportunities in 23 budget. There's going to be like signage, downtown's open, redirecting people how to get to the downtown. Are you talking about more so direct funding opportunities for businesses?
I don't know. I know that we had a conversation last month about how we were actually going to be starting the project in 23 now. And so if there are going to be things that the city is going to do to support the downtown businesses, we need to budget for it in 23 as well.
Is the signage that we're going to use to promote downtown still open going to be provided by the county through that grant? How does that work? Or is that something that we have to? I know they were particular about, using unified signage.
There might be an opportunity. I'll have to talk to our engineers to see if signage is an eligible reimbursable cost in the grant. I got a feeling it is, as long as you don't go overboard, but basic signage would probably be included in the project. And so to your point, Hans, some of this might be in the project budget itself. And if we want to do something different, it might be in the economic development budget per se. So if there's any ideas that everybody has we want to make sure people know the downtown's open. We want to make sure that people can get through the downtown.
Maybe it's just making a video and making sure we're putting money towards boosting it, or instead of just organic reach.
Yeah, like that. Spend more than $200 to push it.
I mean, social media advertising is cheap.
Mhm.
I mean,
But we got to make sure that we push it hard.
yep.
What is the plan for parking once this project starts?
So, I don't know if you're aware, Hans, but the city did acquire that grass lot by Lynn Tank. I don't know
Yep,
if you heard
that came up at the meeting last week.
Yep, so if this updates, we do have that grass lot here.
And how many spots will that lot have?
Depending on what we choose.
We're working on engineering for that. The other consideration with that is several considerations. Is it the opportunity, do we want to take the opportunity of closing off Lincoln and then making the entire thing parking. That's an option to talk about. I'm not saying we're gonna do it. How do we tie that in with this existing parking lot here? We kicked around some ideas of actually throwing in some bump out sidewalks here to make the crosswalk a little bit more pedestrian friendly. But we plan on doing this project in 23 so that this parking lot hopefully is utilized available for the downtown 24 project, so that people can get here and then have a little bit closer access instead of being, if I'm not going to be able to park on the street right here, can I at least have this parking lot available to get a little bit closer? So we're working towards trying to figure out and have this developed in 23 to make a little bit better parking for 2024 project. We've got a transformer here, electrical transformer. It'd be nice to get that out of the way to kind of make these two parking lots a little bit more seamless, but that's really expensive to move that. So I'm getting those costs from utilities. There's utilities, there's electrical, it sounds like there's AT&T and then there's Charter in there as well. And I don't even have a cost for what it would be for AT&T and Charter to ask them to move their stuff as well.
Do we anticipate overflow parking going into some of the private lots there and that becoming an issue? And if so, can we somehow like lease spots or?
Yep. One of the things we did ask when we had our open house was, were there any businesses that were interested in allowing us to advertise them, their private parking, advertise them as overflow parking for the project? First State Bank came forward and said yes. Obviously, they've got their project going on next year in this area as well. So hopefully their project is done for 2024, that their parking lot potentially would be available for that. And we're just gonna have to reach out to probably the plaza and the other areas in here just to kind of see who's willing to be a partner, in that.
Where that 304 building is, the parking in front of there, that lot rarely has a vehicle in it, ever.
That's because there's nothing in that building.
Right, there's nothing in most of those buildings over there, but
There's actually nothing in that first building.
yeah, no, there's not. No, the first business in there would be the Family Dollar. But yeah, even still, there's very little parking in any of those at all.
Can you scroll that to the, I guess from a little bit left,
Go east or west?
go west with it,
Go west.
up the other way, sorry.
Go east.
Okay. It might be off the beaten path, but that parking right there, I could do some homework to see if would probably not be customer friendly, but it might be if equipment needed to be staged or, I know we've utilized that before where we'd have, maybe some trucks, trailers and, maybe some crews meet. Because that's a larger area that I can check on.
Because remember, for the 2024 project includes North Water Street and then Pearl Street from the bridge to about this corner. So this is getting developed in 2024 as well. And we talked about, like for Familiar Grounds, can you make sure that there's an access that if they come down to Wapaka, come down Park to get across here at all times or 99% of the time to get in this parking lot so they can, access Familiar Grounds. I mean, a lot of the north side businesses have a little bit more of access. It's going to be those south side businesses that, it's going to be a little bit trickier, obviously, because they don't have the
Water on
ability
one-
like
Yeah,
the
got water
ones in
on
the
one
north
side, yeah.
does.
Good water access.
Great water access.
And I would assume that 225, if you want to call that parking lot, during the construction phases would not be overnight parking. It would just be for all the apartments above and stuff,
Yeah, it's not overnight parking. It
Yeah.
would just be for,
just for
Day
business
parking.
access. Yep.
one idea that I kicked around a little bit to go maybe with Hans's thought process. I don't know what the cost would be. I haven't crunched numbers. I just kind of thought about, would it be an opportunity to hire a or a couple of high school or college kids, that if we have some farther parking staging set up, do we get a golf cart, a 4-seater, 6-seater golf cart that they could drive people, to the downtown businesses and drop them off, almost like a shuttle service. So people aren't walking so far. I've kind of thought, I don't know what the cost of that would be, but
And how do you
that would be a
schedule that?
perfect idea for, future helping businesses, if we can kind of get parking up here and then there's a shuttle service and a golf cart.
We could have them park on the south side and ferry them across.
That too. I mean,
Floating-
well, hopefully this is
floating
under
parking
construction too.
Years ago, they had a swing bridge or one of those. Something happened to the Pearl Street Bridge and that was the only bridge in town at the time and they put up some temporary rope bridge, but that didn't go too well. But yeah, somebody maybe have an opportunity to.
Yeah, I'm thinking like the hairdressers or anything else that's on the south side. If there's a shuttle service that kind of gets them close, I don't know. I thought that'd be a very attractive way for people to continue to come downtown. And there's a lot of logistics to figure out with that yet, but
And I have seen a lot of, especially some of the elder ladies who do their weekly appointments, standing around outside, they're waiting for, the city bus to come through.
Mhm.
So even having like a tent area with some chairs and stuff that they could sit at where the shuttle would run, if that were to be the case.
staging area with a tent or something like that.
Yeah,
Could contact the ATV club,
Oh,
see if that's something they'd be interested in.
Yeah.
Shuttle people back and forth
like pull a trailer or?
to shuttle people back and forth in their ATVs and UTVs.
Side
you know,
by sides.
Oh,
Or
gotcha.
side by sides and
Okay.
stuff. you know.
Yep.
I don't know, there's a lot of them.
I don't know how many of the older population is going to get on an ATV.
Well, the
Across.
UTVs, the
So the
side by
UTVs
sides,
side
they
by side.
would.
Or a
And
tra-
I see
or a
them drive
trailer.
through here all the time.
Or some sort of
Yeah.
nice seating type deal.
Sure,
Pumpkin
some-
bill trailer.
Sure, somebody has a trailer out there that's meant for, seating,
School does.
some organization or something.
The school does.
Yeah.
They bus you from the parking lot to the football stadium,
No stadium, you're right.
that trailer. I mean, I don't, just an idea of something to, shoot at them. Maybe they would be willing to
Mhm.
just do it.
Are there events that occur on North Water that we need to think about relocating?
Office.
And the car show?
And the car show.
What about parades?
Well, I'm hoping it's done by December
Well, what about?
and I don't think it'll
December should
start
be
until
fine.
after, I don't think it'll start until after March.
Yeah, no, after frost and construction season. Well, the 2023 more than likely won't start till mid-summer. Just, when the water table goes down, when the river goes down. Yeah, and they'll be done before Christmas.
So the First State Bank project is gonna be completed before we start the downtown project.
2024, yes. 2023, I just had a meeting with them the other day and there's gonna be some good coordination that has to be done because like I said, we were trying to do the parking lot here. And I didn't mention, but we were gonna try to do the parking lot, Lincoln Court and St. John's Place in 2023 to allow that easy traffic to get to the parking lot for 2024, but they're doing their construction in 2023 too. So I had a meeting with them the other day that, okay, you guys are doing this, we've got this, this, and this, we might be all in 2023, we're gonna have to coordinate, schedules and stuff like that, so.
Have you run the idea past First State of closing down Lincoln Court? Like, do any of the stakeholders have it?
Yeah, he's on that
have
committee.
an-
Down
have an
here?
opinion?
Bob Van Essen's on the committee.
And what are the pros and cons of it? I mean, one pro, I guess, would be more parking, but
Their new layout,
Access to, because you can still get in
Yeah.
You can still enter on North Water Street and still make it to the bank, so it's not closing any access to that.
Yep, this is one way right now existing. Well, it's supposed to be. I know Belinda said sometimes there's not people observing that, but this is one way now. The new layout for First State Bank has their main entrance on Wapaka. They also are gonna have a access on St. John's and then more so an out on Lincoln Court. But what's gonna happen is their building is gonna be kind of in the middle here. Their main entrance is gonna be in the front and their address is gonna be a Wapaka address. And then their drive-through is gonna be in the back. So the drive-through is gonna kind of wrap around. People are gonna have to drive around, get through here. And then they either exit here, or if they want to exit in Wapaka, they're probably gonna wrap around the building, exit Wapaka, then go west.
Would all of Lincoln Court, you couldn't shut all of Lincoln Court down. It would only be up until,
Yep.
yeah.
I would say if we do something like that, it would probably be this area right here, just to incorporate, the parking. So this would still be two-way, and this would still be, two-way. It would just be, would it benefit us the most by closing this off and then maximizing parking with that?
If you close it off, what would it even look like? Because I'm presuming you would still have some access to the parking lot from North Water. So
Correct.
people would probably still be shooting through there anyways, right?
Hopefully not driving through it a lot, but they could. It'd be driving through a parking lot to get, and if you look at back here, there's not a ton to access back here. I mean, you've got lily pad.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like that in Wapaka. And
Couldn't we put one of them things at a traffic counter?
traffic counter, we could. put
Yeah,
a
that
traffic
little
counter.
thing that goes across, you'd actually
Mhm.
see what it would impact.
We just
over.
keep hearing that parking is an
You'll
issue
get
for
3 a day for
downtown,
me
so
doing my mail route on there.
If there is an
I can
opportunity.
reroute
to-
that.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like that's a great impact from what I'm thinking. It's, if we're questioning it, let's put a thing out there and
Well,
see
I
what
don't-
actually counts.
I don't know if we're questioning it, but we want to make sure that if we do close it off, we've thought about that process. And we think that this will probably come to the Board of Public Works in the future to determine, okay, how much traffic is actually going down here compared to getting some more parking stalls in here, because there's not a lot of benefit for just having this to drive back here.
I have to
Because-
believe that 95% of the traffic that you count going down that road is going to that parking lot.
Right here?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're going to the parking lot anyway.
So that, to me, that road should just be shut down and made into a parking lot, because there's no benefit to cut through right there. You can go another block and cut through.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah,
Nope.
they're going to that parking lot and very, on occasion, there's the semis that are going to Family Dollar,
And they'll just have to come from the other side.
which would be easy, which would be easy enough for them to do,
Mhm.
quite honestly.
Well, maybe not. I mean, how do they then get back out?
They can turn back right there. They can come on the other roads and go up there too. Because we're
Yeah.
not closing the whole thing down. We're stopping at that
It
parking
would
lot.
just be shut down to here.
They'd still be able to get back there. It's just one
Yeah.
extra block they gotta travel.
I don't know if they go, do you know if they go come north
I
or
would
south
agree.
usually?
Yeah, I
think
mean,
that'd be
that's
very
bad.
something
I
that
don't
we
think
hear.
they
They
pull it on
usually are going, well, they're usually pointed north.
Because that's an also 40-foot trailer.
So, yeah, they would just come
Somehow
upstate.
you got 60 feet. The roads ain't even that wide.
To say that we don't have.
I
parking,
know.
But it's
They
not.
gotta
in the
go
right
through
place.
that, between the theater and the little hardware store.
So this item will probably come to the Board of Public Works for official, blessing if we want to discontinue using the southern end of Lincoln Court and use it for parking.
Can we make a recommendation to that board?
You got several people here that you can just
I will-
recommend and
I'll be on board
I'm gonna
also.
assume
they're
that the
collecting input
economic-
right now.
I'll assume that
I'm
the
gonna-
Economic Development Committee is on board with closing the
I'm
street
not
down.
going home. You ain't closing my streets.
So when I go to the Public Works meeting, I can definitely tell them that that's our recommendation
Mhm.
for more parking.
I mean, do you want to vote?
As far as budget goes, I think.
Correct. And it's not an agenda item, so I don't think you can really vote on it. Unless you want me to put it as an
The head
agenda
nod,
item,
And
but
then I go to Public Works, I'll let them know what the head nod was.
but a budget item, which would, while we're on.
I think
I know we're not talking about 24 budget, but I would say that knowing what's coming up there, we say we don't use everything for economic development budget, 39 that's left. You know, we should maybe knowing that we may have to, let's say we gotta rent some kind of people carrier from Carew Carts or
Yep.
or whatever, you know. I think Hans brought up a good point when we're on budget, you know. This committee may need to somehow make sure that those people can get the traffic that they've relied on
Mhm.
and whatnot to their businesses.
And if you want, let's kind of continue that thought process. So the operation budget, that's going to kind of go to Judy and she's going to put the operation budget together. The capital budget, we have a little time yet because what Judy does is she basically sets a dollar amount, whatever we have available. She sets a dollar amount for 2023 for capital projects. And then the capital projects committee, usually in December or January, that's when the projects start getting determined. So if there are capital project items for 2023, we have another meeting or two that you can kind of bring those suggestions that we can get them on that schedule for consideration for the capital projects committee. When it comes to the operating budget here, if you guys got a special consultant you want to bring in, or you know, if you want a housing study or something like that, that I need to increase this dollar amount a little bit, now's the time to kind of think about that. With that.
If we're
What-
talking,
I'll just throw in one thing quick as well. The facade improvement program, we honestly might want to consider bumping that up for the
After
next 2 years
2024.
as well, if possible, only for the fact that Wapaka, the Public Works Director, called me a month or two ago. And he was asking about, because they have a huge problem now with private business owners blocking off sidewalks and the road for renovations of the building. It spurred this growth that, you know, the road got done and now everybody's just coming out of the woodwork doing their buildings. So they're getting a lot of complaints from people wanting to walk downtown because half the sidewalks are closed down because the businesses are jumping through, you know, fixing buildings. So is that going to happen with us? Possibly, that, you know, and I said that's kind of a good problem to have, that people are renovating their buildings, which is good. You know, is the downtown project going to spur some more growth that we want to be ready for that and, you know, have a little bit more funding available for facade improvements potentially?
Could we incentivize to give a greater amount so all the construction would be done at once while the downtown's already tore up? Say, hey, look, during this time, we could have a greater incentive for you to rebuild your building while it's all under construction, and it would come out as a nicer, and maybe kind of get the people to do it at that time.
Absolutely.
idea.
What's that?
I like that.
Yep. Right now, the facade improvement is a 50-50 grant, $2,000 matching, and you're only eligible once every 5 years. So along those same lines, do you want to, at least in, you know, 2024, everybody's eligible at one time, you know, and bump up the funding to kind of spur more growth? The only other challenge is that if people are working on facade improvements, they're not going to be able to have scaffolding and stuff in front of their building because
Right.
the
So
road's
that
going to be ripped
affects
up. We're going to need that area for construction, so.
Contractors.
That's kind of what I see as a problem too, because I mean, just when they do that downtown, there's gonna be, it's a lot of work. And if somebody's there trying with their scaffolding or whatever, trying to redo a front of a building and they're trying to run a lateral in or something, just happen to be, you know, you gotta try to coordinate all that. You know,
It'll be a cluster.
it could be a,
Might be worth investigating, because if the people are slow though, if the businesses have a little bit, they would typically be apprehensive to spend during during a renovation of a road.
Mhm.
This might be an incentive. Yes, there might be some,
Limitations.
I feel like there should be some questioning of the folks who it affects, and I don't know how to go about doing it, but you know, we're anticipating probably a little less traffic.
Mhm.
And that's typically when people would pull back on spending. So if there was a a nice incentive to say, look, while we're doing this. And I don't know the parameters because I don't know how close they're gonna get to the buildings or any of that.
Yeah, the whole
You guys would
sidewalks are
know
gonna
that
turn
better
up,
than
aren't
me.
they?
Yep.
They're gonna have no
Yeah,
sidewalks. so
we're
if you wanna do
reconstructing.
anything to the-
Building the building, so I think it's gonna be tough, you know, if somebody wants to put scaffolding or a lift in front of
Yeah,
their
then it won't
business,
work.
that's gonna be a hard time. And could it be coordinated? Maybe.
I like the ideal, but just make it the year after.
What about the year before and the year after?
2023 and 2025.
Awesome idea. That's-
Yeah.
That way you
Just
can
gotta-
incentivize them to do it all at once. So we don't have,
Ideally,
you know, 5 years of
Right.
this
Right.
building down, this building
That's-
down, this building down.
Right.
You
That's what I
know,
was,
I like to get it all done at once, but
Mhm.
and I agree, it'd be awesome if they could do it during the construction, but I don't see that as feasible with the whole road tore out, sidewalks tore out.
I think it's gotta be enough to incentivize somebody.
Mhm.
Why don't I let you guys chew on that for a month and I put the facade improvement program on next month's agenda for specific discussion
Mhm.
about that.
Would it be open to everybody or would it just be like, I know right now, if you get the grant or whatever, you have to wait so many years to get it again. If you got it last year, would you still be available to get it during that special time?
Whatever you guys want to do, but yeah,
I think it should
I
be
would
open to
say
everyone,
yes.
especially during.
I would say reopen it to everybody for
Yep.
that.
almost
because
the
there's
full
4
year.
of them this year right now. You know, would they be eligible? Yes, next year? Whatever you guys want to do. This would be a special,
Before we jump on that, do you think we'd have enough money to offer that to everybody?
Uh,
Because
Let's
I
do
would-
this
I would
next
hate
month.
I'd hate to have somebody new lose out from somebody that just got it.
It's true.
That's a good point.
Could we task you to somehow put some numbers together prior to the next meeting? What would it look like if everybody said, please, everybody that was eligible said,
Right.
please give us these $2,000? Like how much money would that be? And
oh, for how many
Basically, how many
buildings?
businesses are there?
I can do that.
And if you could put the year,
That they last.
the
did the
year that they
facade?
last used the funding, I don't know,
Now,
if you have
Jolly-
that or, but
Jolly-
anyway, let's,
Jolly Rogers has like 3 or 4 buildings down there.
Yep.
Would they qualify for each building?
Yes, so each building is qualified separately, each parcel. has been- I got Mike St. Marie, same thing. He's got 3 parcels in there. So he would be eligible for 3 different grants.
all right, we'll bring that up next month.
I will do that.
Also, I have one question about these memberships. What are we spending on these memberships?
Packet County Economic Development Corporation, I think is with the corporation and the marketing end of it is about 8,500. Fox Cities Regional Partnership is about 7,200. And Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation was at 250, 250,
$200.
$200.
So roughly $16,000.
Yep.
That seems like quite a lot for something that we're not getting anything in return.
Packet County Economic Development, you guys see the report every month. It's in your packet. Dave says, here's a report in the packet. They've got a revolving loan and we are a member, so we are a voting member. So I represent the city as a board member. There is programs like they have a revolving loan fund program. They've also got the transportation initiative that they're working on. They got the big grant for the state for the transportation initiative. They've got some broadband expansion things, programs going on. I mean, there's a bunch of different things that they've got going on that we've talked about the last meeting, so. They are county programs or the regional programs, so is it something that's directly 100% of those dollars coming back to New London? Probably not, but they are regional type things that makes our regions, our county stronger and our region is stronger, but if we would pull out to one of these, I think we would be the only city and village that would not be in the Waupaca County Economic Development Corporation. Fox Cities Regional Partnership, like I said, I want to give that one more year. Not everyone is involved with that one, so I want to kind of see what we're getting back with that. And make a recommendation for that next year. I want to see where the strategic planning efforts go. And then this one's just for the downtown. That one's $200, so that's for the Downtown Connect Communities program. So. Any other capital project items that you guys want to look at? I've got the billboard replacement on there, and I'll kind of talk about that a little bit next in my report, but any other capital project items?
We had talked way back in the beginning of this year about a recognized need for workforce housing closer to the areas that actually need it. And I know that in that area, kind of along sort of what I'd say like the Mill Street area, there's parts of that are owned by the, or within the city and parts of it are not. And so our control maybe there is limited, but as we were looking at it, there were places on the map that we saw that seemed well suited potentially to residential development, but they were not necessarily zoned that way. Is that something that we could, and maybe, I don't know if that's not a budgeting issue, maybe it is, I don't know, but I mean, is that something that we could also look at for next year? If there's a way we could meet a recognized need?
We just did our comprehensive planning map, which took that input in that direction and kind of created a comprehensive plan with that and kind of determined that this is earmarked as highway commercial. But doesn't mean you can't go through the process to have it rezoned and have the comp plan amended for things like that. That makes sense? I mean,
Yes, but that's kind of a passive approach. Is there a way that we can more aggressively market it?
the areas in white are outside the city limits. The areas in color are city limits within the city.
Wait, what?
That is so confusing to me.
Yep.
Why?
This area right here is town of Hortonia. So there's a little section right in the middle of the city that's town of Hortonia.
The only way to get around it is they have to request to be part of the city and
Yep, and that'd be the decision of those property owners. I've heard that, the township would more than likely, once these wells or the sanitary septics, or they have mound systems, once they fail, more than likely the township will say, hey, now you gotta maybe connect into the city to get city service instead of trying to get another mound system put in there. But if they do connect to the city sanitary system, they have to be annexed in the city. But these properties right here are outside the city limits right now.
Oh, they're inside.
Well,
They're
they're,
surrounded by the.
Surrounded by the
city
city.
limits.
I did not know that.
I knew there was a couple. I didn't realize it went
I didn't
that far.
realize that, yeah, that it was that far into the residential area.
Me neither.
Jeff has a,
How can they be Hortonian contiguously connected?
I think we grew
got
around.
a unofficial thought. And I think I heard it from somewhere, but I'm not saying that this is it, because the railroad connection makes that connection. I heard that from somewhere, because the railroad runs through here. So this railroad somehow makes that connection. I don't know if that's the true statement, but or was this done before laws have changed to allow that? I don't know the answer. But I can tell you that those white parcels are outside the city limit. They're in the town of Hortonia.
Who does this, the plowing and then? Is that Hortonia?
There's some agreements put together. And we do this for some of the other townships surrounding us. So like spur road, half of it's in the city, half of it's not. So we do a section and then they'll do a section, there's some agreements with who's plowing what. You guys learned something new today, huh?
Mhm.
A little bit off topic, but that one parcel by the school that we
Fire department.
allowed to go out of our area at the last council meeting,
This one?
they're not hooked up to the city utilities?
City limits.
Okay.
If they were hooked up, they would not be able to.
Fire number?
Yeah, if they were hooked up to sanitary sewer, they'd have to discontinue sanitary sewer.
We only go to.
They did it. They didn't want to get hooked up because they all had new mound systems.
I mean,
That's why
do
they
we
didn't get
go?
hooked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that,
Interesting.
but
Yep, so this one will turn white. Eventually.
All right, moving on to updates and reports. April?
oh, it's me. So if you have not already, I recommend you take a ride down North Water Street. Living Waters Assembly of God at 401 North Water Street. That's the former Huntington Bank, is doing some exterior renovations, turning out really nice. They had those glass panes, a couple of them fell out. They're replacing it with some really nice sidings. Take a look at that. Rice's Greenhouse was put on the market. They have an accepted offer, and I was told by the realtor that listed it that the couple that purchased it are from Ripon, and they plan to keep that a greenhouse, which is exciting to hear. Definitely a staple in our community that we want to keep. From as far as I know, and maybe Jeff can chime in if he knows any different, there are 2 commercial buildings listed in New London, Hilby's business included. And then MK Flooring on North Water Street, business not included. So those two commercial buildings, one in business included. Chad and I email businesses together. We both heard back from Zero's Cafe, which is the former Buc-ee's. We've been told that they are on track to open very soon. And they're applying for the Main Street Bounce Back Grant. And it sounds like they're gonna be very similar to what Buc-ee's is and do like morning breakfast. And then there's just a series of ribbon cuttings and business after hours. If you guys don't subscribe to our local loop, which comes out every Tuesday, let me know. I can get your email added to that. But we have quite a bit of ribbon cuttings and open houses, one being the Grand Cinema Theater. So we'd like to drive some traffic into there. So if you want details on that, please let me know. Any questions?
Thank you, April. City Administrator report.
All right, like I have in my memo, on September 20th and 21st, the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation is holding a statewide Wisconsin Economic Summit in Appleton. I plan on attending the event. If anybody is interested in that, here's the information. You can click on that link and sign up for the event. If anybody does want to go, I think it's a $50 fee, and we do have some money in the economic development budget that if committee members want to go, we can use that money for the education piece. And then like we talked about with the billboard, I did reach out to the vendor. From what I gathered, it sounds like this salesman may not particularly have been doing a lot with digital screens. I think the company has, but I think this salesman that I'm working with is just taking the opportunity to learn a lot more. He's reached out and is working with Firefox or Foxfire signs. Foxfire, which is the same sign company that we've got for the digital sign up here in the municipal building. So he's working with that. And then I started asking a bunch of regulations because I have no idea anything about digital signs. And I'm sure there's regulations with the state with all this. So I sent him a bunch of information, and he's actually doing the research for me. He's contacted somebody from the state and he's trying to get all that information for me. So no solid numbers yet of costs or what, but this guy's working on getting that for me, which is kind of cool. So then there was another training thing coming up, and I just got it the other day and I can't remember. I'll have to send it to you or something. I can't find it, but yeah, if anybody's interested in that Wisconsin Economic Summit, let me know. We can sign you up and pay that cost.
Register today for that.
That's all I got.
Thank you, Chad. Review potential agenda items for future meetings.
We got the facade improvement program we'll talk about. If I have any information on the billboard, I'll bring it. If I have any information for the a potential sister city subcommittee type thing. I'll bring that as well.
Sounds good. Public comment.
Sorry, I just late thought on that. We talked a lot about the downtown stuff.
Mhm.
One thing that could be possible that the Economic Development Committee could do for those business owners down there. A lot of them get deliveries and things like that throughout the day when the construction's actually taking place. I've seen this where Chamber of Commerce offices become drop-off spots for, because they're staffed, you know. And there might be a vacant building outside of the construction site that maybe during that time of the construction, we could staff up a location or have a location for
Mhm.
various correspondence that people might, for all of the bit, like, for all of the downtown businesses. So like speedy delivery is bringing envelopes to Tim, and they don't have to bring their truck down in the construction site and walk across, you know.
As long as it's not a carpet roll coming to the chamber, I don't know where I would go with
What
that.
about- I mean.
Those are the
so
kind of
the city-
logistics
The
that are-
city had been in 304, right? I
Had been.
mean, if that
That's
building
a
is
sore
sitting.
subject.
Well, but
It's
if the
not
building-
vacant.
I don't know.
It's not vacant. There's a tenant. And I believe she's expanding throughout that entire bottom portion.
What about the 406 building that's vacant that used to be Family Video?
There's somebody in 204?
I guess it was just for food for thought for the, I didn't want to reopen that can of worms. We spent a lot of time on it down.
Former city hall.
I haven't been.
No, but that's a
awesome.
good thing, because they're all gonna go on hold at the post office.
Oh, the old Ignite building?
I'm not gonna walk
That
through
one's vacant.
construction.
Oh,
site.
I thought you were talking about
It says
former, I'm sorry, I
304.
apologize. I thought you were talking about the former city hall. There's no one in the Ignite building.
Yeah, the Ignite building would be one that you would. Yeah, that would be one. that you could-
That was where the city was just evicted from that building, so
We were
Yeah.
not evicted. You were just asked.
we were asked to leave.
Our
Last August.
our lease was
Still up in there.
our lease was closed.
Sorry, I didn't mean to get us off.
But to that point, I
That is a
think
good spot though,
if that's a
you could get
staging area
hold
for
of them,
things.
that would be a good staging spot right there because they have a dock door.
Yep.
They have everything in the back. I mean, it would be a good spot if you could get a hold of them and they would be accepting.
But I think to your point, Johnny, if there's over the next couple months, if there's things that committee members think of on an economic development focus that would help for the project, start thinking about that. We can put that as an agenda item in the future.
I know the back alley is rough, but I mean, the back alley will be open still
Mhm.
during the construction of the downtown. So a lot of businesses can still get.
Until they start by the bridge.
Until one person is unloading there and then you can't get through at all.
That's
I
why I
run
was
into that
thinking the 406 building,
all the
the old Family Video might be a better option if they have
Like,
the ability to rental or something.
I guess a coordinator for those businesses, whether it's somebody just graduated college. And it's not all coming down to you, it's all business owners and the contractors. But somebody that's a liaison that coordinates with businesses and figures out, okay, they're in front of these 10 businesses now. I want to call somebody, and April does it all the time year round, you do it all the time year round, but maybe during the year of construction, whether it's through the grant or through this committee, there is another point person that is a facilitator, coordinator, can set up deliveries, different things. It's just I've seen it or heard about it in other places. Where
It's gonna be important for those outside delivery.
some
people.
person with leadership type abilities that can get things accomplished becomes a point person or liaison to keep in contact with. I mean, because you're gonna be busy looking at,
It's gonna be a busy year.
in addition to all the things you already do. So maybe that year, because it's such a massive project,
Oh, yeah.
whether it's underneath they report to you in April and the business people, but as far as funding, I'm still on that budget topic, you know, that's something that I think could be beneficial that this committee could pitch in.
Mhm.
Wages from somewhere, $15,000 for a college upper class person.
Mhm.
Or whatever, tech graduate, or something to put on the sleeve.
Mhm.
Something to think about on as far as, I wasn't quite done with the budget thinking, but you got me all thinking about the downtown reconstruction project, so they thoughts.
Good thoughts.
All right, review the next meeting date.
Next regular one would be September 27th.
And then before we adjourn, I just wanted to say we had talked about last time about putting together a subcommittee for that New London Treasures campaign, and I was able to reach out
Oh,
to
thank you.
the DECA officer team earlier this month, and I have one officer of DECA that is for sure interested in being a member of that subcommittee, and then one is a maybe depending on the time it meets. And then I can get contact information to whoever.
That would be to me. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no problem.
I was gone most of the month, so
Yeah, no problem.
not a lot happened on that yet.
Thank you, Wyatt.
Yep.
Need a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
You're adjourned.
Thanks, Steve.